back to normal? I bet you've said those words more than once in the last couple of years. And maybe you even followed those words with the comment, whatever normal is. Well, the fact is that over the last 2 years, so much has changed. And change has been forced on us. We've had a pandemic. We've had a attack on the Capitol. We now have a war between Russia and Ukraine. We've had the Great Resignation. We have oil prices going up. We had toilet paper that you couldn't get. So many things have changed over the last few years, and there's nothing normal about that, right? Nothing normal about any of it. And I get that. And I've felt it too. I don't think anyone in the last few years hasn't been impacted by changes that have either been imposed on us or that we've had to make as maybe in response to what's happening, right? But so is there really any normal? No. Is it just now that there's no normal? I don't think so. I don't think there's ever been a normal, and that's why we always say, whatever normal is after we say, wish life would get back to normal, whatever normal is, because normal is changing all the time. And so basically, abnormal is the new normal, or maybe it's always been the normal. So everything's changing all the time. And we need to keep that in mind, that everything changes. So our so-called normal changes moment to moment. It's just like time passing, right? Time passes, we have this moment, then we have the next moment, even as I'm speaking to you, this moment is now the next moment. And it's the same with normal. It flows naturally into the next moment and the next moment and the next moment. So normal is always changing. But do we accept that fact? Typically, we don't. And this lack of acceptance for abnormal or the new normal, this constant change tends to make us unhappy and frustrated and angry. And these negative emotions don't serve you well, right? They don't help you be happy, peaceful, fulfilled, right? So, and over time, those negative emotions are going to impact almost every area of your life, your health, your work, your relationships, everything. Now, the key is, of course, to find some sort of equanimity, some way of accepting what's going on. But by that, I'm not saying that you need to sit back and take it. A lot of people haven't liked the changes that have happened over the last few years, and they didn't want to sit back and take it. And all changes are not meant to be taken in stride, right? And change is always challenging. So I'm not saying to sit back and just take it, nor am I saying that you shouldn't stand up for what you believe, because we all need to stand up for what we believe. But when we are approaching our desire for change with a lot of anger and frustration, and a desire to control or to make things change, that tends to make us pretty miserable, especially if nothing's changing. So I don't recommend that, because I don't want you to be miserable. So I was thinking about how could we approach all these changes that are either forced upon us or things that we would like to be different that aren't different or can't be changed, right? So like we couldn't change the pandemic. Well, there were some ways we could have done things about it, but it was here and we had to deal with it, right? So all of these things. So how can we deal with those types of things that can't really be changed and impact our normal life? Well, I suggest we use the Serenity Prayer. Now, the Serenity Prayer is very common in Alcoholics Anonymous and all the different AA groups, right? They use it in all their meetings. And so you've probably heard of the Serenity Prayer. But the thing is that you don't have to be addicted to something to use the prayer. In fact, it's pretty powerful all by itself for just about anyone. So if you don't know the prayer, it is God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. That prayer is so powerful. Now, if you don't believe in God, just take out God and don't use God, or use a term you prefer, source, creator, whatever it is. Or if you really don't want God in this prayer and you don't believe in prayers because you don't believe in God, then use it as an affirmation. Use the prayer as an affirmation. And so, for example, you could just say, instead of God grant me, you could just say grant me, right? Grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change. Or if that doesn't work for you, grant it to yourself. I grant myself the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. But the key really is in that last part, the difference. You have to actually know the difference between what you can change and what you can't change. Because otherwise, if you're trying to change something you can't change, you're going to be awfully angry and frustrated. And that, as I said, is going to impact your entire life. And it's not a great way to lead any kind of mission or cause. You want to come at it with a much more positive attitude, but also be impacting things you can change. You want to lead change that is possible, not change that's impossible. Or again, you're going to be frustrated and you're going to be leading a whole pack of angry people. Angry and frustrated, right? And there's going to be even more angry and frustrated when nothing changes. But the fact is that you didn't know the difference between what could change and what couldn't. So pay very close attention to that. Know the difference between what you can change and what you can't change, and work on changing the things that you can. Overall, I would say you want to accept that change is something positive, right? Like I said, it's like the passage of time. It just happens all the time. So we don't have normal because change is happening all the time. We don't have normal. Our normal is abnormal because change is occurring in every single moment. It may not always be impacting your life, but it's happening, right? So we need to learn to accept that, and then we will have serenity, right? So accept that abnormal is normal, not just the new normal. It's just normal. It's the way of life, and you're going to find more happiness and peace. I'm Nina Amir. I'm the Inspiration to Creation Coach. I'm an intuitive, transformational catalyst. I love to help people get from where they are to where they want to go without letting anything get in the way. And the thing that gets in the way most often is themselves. It's what's going on up here. So we have to change on the inside to change the outside. And that's what I love to help people with. I love helping them with their personal and spiritual growth so they get inspired, they take some inspired action, and they get some inspired results. They create things because we are all creators. We all have a spark of divinity in us, and we are creative beings, and we can create the lives we want. We can create lives that feed our souls. So if that's of interest to you, click above, join the Inspired Creator community. You can join anytime. As I shoot this video, we're working on the leadership sessions and high performance coaching, because the Inspired Creator community has both high performance coaching and inspired results coaching, so personal and spiritual growth. Also, if you're an author, you get a bonus of author coaching. So join anytime, but why not now? Why not now? Especially if you're feeling frustrated by the fact that you have been forced to change or that you need to change. That was me 18 months ago. I have to change. Like, I know it. I know that I need to change. And so I went and joined a program very similar to the Inspired Creator community to get the support I needed to transform myself and my life. So if that's what you're interested in, you're ready for some transformation, to get unstuck, click on the link above for the Inspired Creator community, and I'll see you inside. And until then, as always, go out and achieve more inspired results.